The EU leaders are gathering here in Brussels for an extraordinary summit, which is expected to look at the current crisis in Georgia and the EU's relations with the European Union. Now, France's President Nicolas Sarkozy, whose country is currently holding the EU's rotating presidency, has convened an extraordinary summit for the first time since it took place in February 2003. So the leaders of the European countries are expected to criticize Russia's recognition of the independence of South Ossetia and Abkhazia, and they're also going to discuss on what measures to take against Russia as they are opposed, or rather they criticize Russia's actions towards Georgia. Now, there are two main issues that are going to be discussed here in Brussels, and those are the EU-Russia Partnership Agreement, which was signed in 1997. It has to be reviewed, and the talks on the talks on the partnership between Russia and the EU agreement were going to start on the 16th of September. Now, there has been some talk here in Brussels that these talks are now going to be suspended, but we have spoken to Russia's ambassador to the European Union, Vladimir Chizhov, who has told us that as far as he's concerned, there has been no indication whatsoever that these talks are going to be suspended or even postponed, and that these plans are not being revised, and that is confirmed by the statement from the spokesman of the EU last week, who confirmed that the meeting would take place on the 16th of September. Now, the second issue here in Brussels that the European leaders are expected to be looking at is the punitive measures against Russia and what measures are going to be taken. Now, despite the talk of sanctions, which we heard last week from France's Foreign Minister Bernard Kouchner, who said that all measures, including sanctions, were possibly going to be discussed. Now we hear that the sanctions are not on the agenda. That has been said by France, that has been confirmed by Germany, and it has been also said by Javier Solana, the EU's foreign minister, who has confirmed that sanctions are not on the agenda here in Brussels. And Germany's foreign minister has said recently in an interview to the mass media that taking any kind of punitive measures against Russia, this is the wrong time to take to unleash any punitive action against Russia. So as you see, the two main issues on the agenda, but there is one thing that the European leaders are united on, and that is that they want to send a clear and definite message to Russia that they are not happy with its actions over Georgia. But as we know, reaching unity within the European Union has always been quite difficult.
So, as you say, no sanctions, and we know there's little agreement among the member states. You say a clear message. What sort of message will that be? I mean, what will eventually, do you think, the outcome will be from this extraordinary summit?
Well, for the moment, it looks like the main talk is going to focus around these measures that the EU wants to sort of take on Russia, or rather its stance towards Russia. As we know, in recent years, the bloc has been quite often divided on its stance to Russia, and this crisis in Georgia has sort of underlined these divisions within the 27 member states of the European Union. Now, new members of the EU, such as Poland, the Baltic states, plus Sweden and Great Britain, some of the older members of the EU, have been pushing for tougher measures against Russia, and the meeting comes a day after Britain's Prime Minister Gordon Brown has said that the EU has to totally review its relationship with Russia. But some other countries, the older member states such as France, Italy, Germany, they're calling on a more reserved take towards Russia. They understand that they would not like to undermine their relations, the existing ties with Russia, and they also understand that Europe would hurt itself if it were to take any punitive measures towards Russia. So for the moment, what we do know is that very few people are expecting any definite or specific measures to emerge from just a 3-hour meeting of the European leaders, and they are united on one thing, that they want to send economic and humanitarian aid to Georgia, that they want to show that their negative attitude towards Russia's actions, and that they want to give more